So here are some things that have happened within the last 24 hours, and today is August 7th, 2025. But the first thing we're going to talk about is how Cambodian Prime Minister nominates Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. Here's another person nominating him for a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, do you think he is going to get it? Because I do. One of the reasons I think that is because we are all very aware about the Russia-Ukraine war going on. But what you have here behind me is Rubio. He basically is talking about the Russia-Ukraine war, and he says that we need to get Russia and Ukraine close enough. And then he talks about President Trump, and he refers to President Trump as being the ultimate closer, because if they can get close enough, then the ultimate closer in the world is going to arrive and bring peace between Russia and Ukraine. And so they're going to be meeting here within a couple days, and so it seems that there is a potential of peace that is right around the corner between Russia and Ukraine. And if there is peace between Russia and Ukraine, then that will be peace that was brokered between Russia, Ukraine, and about 5 or 6 other countries, and it's all going to be credited to President Trump. Also, regarding the Abraham Accords, President Trump makes a statement about that. He says, now that the nuclear arsenal being created by Iran has been totally obliterated, it is very important to me that all Middle Eastern countries join the Abraham Accords. This will ensure peace in the Middle East. This, from Trump's own words, is very, very important to him, that all Middle Eastern countries are going to join the Abraham Accords. All of them. All of them are going to join the Abraham Accords. That is fascinating. Another peace deal that is about to be brokered within the next couple days, specifically on August 7th and 8th, is between the leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan, and the United States will meet for a peace summit in Washington on August 7th through the 8th. And it is all about peace between these two countries, and they are going to be meeting with President Trump. And so it seems like he will be brokering some kind of a peace deal between these two nations as well. Again, remember, all of this is happening within the last 24 hours, and he made a statement saying that the law in Washington, D.C. must be changed. And he's talking, the context here is because of, there's people getting mugged on the streets over there, and he's basically saying that if the police doesn't start doing their job, then he's going to basically deploy the National Guard to clean up the streets. And so he says down here, he says he will exert his powers and federalize the city if the police do not start doing their job. And so it's really interesting seeing this, but I want you to pay attention that he says that the law in DC must be changed, because this makes me think of something specific in Daniel chapter 7, where there is going to be somebody who changes the law. On top of all that, today, August 7th, 2025, you have this being reported that the $6.2 billion convenience store chain Sheetz, Sheetz, is to accept Bitcoin and offer 50% discounts on payments. And so you're seeing that a huge convenience store is going to be accepting not just cash, but also a digital currency. That is remarkable. And on top of all that, we have ChatGPT 5 being released today. And so the ChatGPT that was out before is now considered old school. It is outdated. And so now there is an updated one, which is going to be faster. It is going to be more powerful, and is going to be able to do so many other things that the other one could not do. And so you're seeing how fast this is growing and growing and growing, and you're seeing AI that is just completely unhinged, and it is being released to people like you and I. And so if you and I have this kind of stuff, then the question is, what do they have? And on top of all of that, you have that 8.8 earthquake that took place over in Russia a couple days ago. Well, that has triggered some volcanoes, 7 volcanoes that are now active because of that earthquake. And so you're seeing a whole bunch of labor pains, and just like what you see when you see a pregnant lady, like when you know that she is about to have a baby, you understand that she's about to have a baby because of the labor pains and the contractions. And so what we are seeing right now, or at least what I would propose to you, is that when we look out into the world, we are seeing a whole bunch of labor pains, and it is coming at us from every direction that's out there. And it's so remarkable, because all of this is pointing towards one event, and that event that it is pointing us towards, in my opinion, is the rapture. And so I think that all of this stuff is going to basically culminate with the rapture, and then after the rapture occurs, shortly thereafter, a week or 2 or 3 after the rapture occurs, there's going to be a strengthening of a covenant between many, which is mentioned in Daniel chapter 9. And so we are getting very close. And if we see the signs of those times coming towards us, then what that means is that the rapture is that much closer. It's really interesting. The tribulation, there are signs that lead us to the tribulation, but the rapture is imminent. The rapture, in a sense, is signless, and it's very fascinating. And so one way or the other, we are one day closer to home, and I want you guys to always remember the main thing, and the main thing is how to know for sure you can get to heaven. And that is found, the gospel is found in 1 Corinthians 15, that says that Jesus died for our sins according to the scriptures, that he was buried, and then he rose again on the third day according to the scriptures. And it is for by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. And so I hope this helps. Thanks.